and welcome to Clued in Education. I'm Catherine, and today we're talking about something every trainer should have in their toolkit: scaffolding. We'll go over what scaffolding actually means, why it matters, and how to do it well, using a simple practical model I call the FAST method. So, grab a cuppa, get comfy, and let's get into it. So, what do we mean by scaffolding? Think about how scaffolding works on a building site. It helps workers reach higher and get the job done safely. It's temporary support. And once the structure's strong enough, the scaffolding comes down. So in training, scaffolding is the support that we give while learners are still building their skills or confidence. It's how we help them complete a task they can't yet do independently, but without doing it for them. Now, in vet, we're often asking learners to do tasks they've never done before. Use equipment, work under time pressure, follow safety protocols, or apply communication strategies, and all of these in real workplaces. Without scaffolding, some students freeze, others guess, and some just give up altogether. But when we scaffold well, we give learners a way in and gradually build them up so they can do the task with confidence. So here's a simple method I use when planning scaffolded tasks. FAST. It stands for focus, assist, show, and try. So let's break that down. So F stands for focus. Start by focusing the learner on what they're actually meant to do. And that might mean breaking a big job or a big task into smaller steps, giving clear, simple instructions, and explaining what the outcome should look like, providing an example of the finished product or finished task. So if I think about some examples of this that I've seen, in a construction context, that might be, instead of saying install the frame, you might say something like, we're just going to focus on measuring and marking the timber correctly. Then we'll look at cutting, and then we'll get to assembly, so breaking it down. An example from a hospitality context, rather than make a coffee, the focus might be focusing just on the grind and the tamp pressure first, then moving on to milk texturing. Okay, so just breaking down the actual task into smaller pieces first. And what you're doing with this is you're actually helping the learner to zone in, so they're not overwhelmed by the whole process. So A is assist. Now, this is when you provide the support, not to do it for them, but to help them get started successfully. So that might look like giving them a checklist or a visual guide, practicing the skill in parts or stages, offering them reminders or mnemonics, so like FAST, and working side by side alongside each other under supervision first. So in terms of some examples, so if, let's say an automotive context, using like a labeled diagram that goes through each part of the engine before asking students to do certain tasks on the engine. If I think of an example from like an aged care type context, giving step-by-step instructions, procedures for something like a toileting process that also gives reminders for things like hygiene and dignity. And this is something that the learner can refer to as they're practicing the task. And the importance of this stage is that it builds confidence and helps to reduce mistakes early on. So S stands for show. And this is when you actually model the skill yourself. And this is because learners need to see how it's done. They need to see how it's done, not just hear how it's done, right? So this might include you demonstrating the full task slowly and clearly and repeating steps if you need to. Talking through your thought process as you go. And pointing out common mistakes and how to avoid them. So if I think about maybe sort of like a beauty therapy context, you might show how to hold the wax strip, apply pressure and remove it cleanly, and explaining each step out loud and why you're doing things that particular way. If I think about things in like an electrotechnology context, so you could demonstrate how to test a circuit safely, and explain why you're choosing each setting on the multimeter as you go. So seeing this done, it builds mental models for our students, and this is really helpful when they're actually giving it a go themselves later on, to have those mental models of what should be done at each stage. And then finally we have the T, try. So this is when the learner actually gives it a go, but you're still there for support. So you might let them try one step at a time while you supervise. Give immediate feedback, and ask reflective questions like what went well, or what would you do differently next time? So if I think of an example from maybe like a commercial cookery context, letting students plate a dish using a template that's, as guidance, and that they've practiced, and then talk through with them how what they've done compares with the template and how it meets the visual standards. If I think about things from like a trades context, allowing the learner to complete the steps of a job, but actually be coaching them on their technique and their safety as they go. And eventually in this process, you step back, and that's when the learner then steps up, and that's how scaffolding works. Now, scaffolding isn't about dumbing it down, it's about building up. So this means that students aren't left guessing. It helps them to feel successful in the tasks that they're learning. And really the best part about it is that it's not complicated and it doesn't take hours to prepare. You can apply the FAST model on the fly, right, as you're delivering, and you notice that a student potentially requires support. You can do this in any practical session. So let's just sum up the FAST way to scaffold. The F is focus the task. The A is assist with structure. The S is show how it's done. And the T is letting the students try with support. So if you're finding this kind of content helpful, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and drop a comment below if you've got questions, or if you'd like to share your own tips for scaffolding. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.